It's August 17th, and it's nighttime right now, and I'm here by myself. And I don't know, I just wanted to turn the camera on because I feel a certain way. Sometimes I feel this overwhelming sadness in regards to what is going on in this system. I think about the dogs and all the problems that there are and all the work that I've personally done, and think about all the work that other people do and how they're viewed, and think about things that shouldn't be as difficult as they are. I was in the shelter today photographing, and I'm sick today also. I'm not just sick today, I've been been sick for the last almost 2 weeks. So I'm just really in a weird mood right now, where like all the, I'm sick, and then all the emotions of what I do and what's going on at the shelter and what I've personally seen and things that I've heard from other people and things that I know that other people are going through, it's all like hitting me at once. And that's not even taking into consideration all the other crazy stuff that's going on. And I was at the shelter today, and I just felt different, I was walking through and felt down. It was hard. I mean, it's hard every time, it's hard every time, but it's hard every time because there's dogs there every time. You get to know them, you get to love them, you get to try to help, you know what you're up against. And you just plow through. But today was different for some reason, I don't know. I don't know if I need a break or what, because I just found myself, just trying to get the right pictures and then not being able to, and moving on to the next dog. And I'm really tired and really exhausted mentally and physically. So I have a camera full of photographs, and I haven't even started editing yet. I've been busy all day. As soon as I left the shelter, I had something else to do, and I had something else to do that I just got back from. And spend all this time editing photographs, hours and hours I spend every time and try to get them up within a day, and fucking shelter just kills the majority of them within like 2 or 3 days. And you take the photographs to network, and you hope and intend that people will do that. It's just so overwhelming for people that find a lot of my photographs don't even get any attention whatsoever. And then, so the defeatist side of you is like, why are you even bothering, And that side will never win, but I'm not going to sit up here and say that it doesn't, like, slap me around a little bit at random. And today was just one of those days, like, I just had this sullen feeling the entire time I was at the shelter. I was just moving slower. My mind was like cloudy the whole time because I was in there as they're doing this adoption event, and knowing that my own girlfriend is one of their best volunteers, and she's currently suspended for simply trying to take out dogs and allowing me to take video of them so we can network them and find them homes. Every one of these dogs are awesome. They don't get temperament tests. When they do get temperament tests, they're oftentimes failed. The majority never get them. And then they're barred from ever being able to, leave the cage until they get this test, which most never get, and then they're killed. So that's why she's suspended. And I'm in there today as all these other volunteers are walking around, and I gotta see these people. I gotta see Gil walking around. I gotta see the head volunteer Joyce walking around. I gotta see one of the groomers walking around that I know basically just tattletaled on Diana when she saw Diana taking out a dog that wasn't temperament tested yet. So she runs and tattletales to Gil, or to another sergeant who comes back and kicks me out and berates Diana, and then Diana gets in trouble and ultimately gets suspended. So I have to see these people. And they walk by me like nothing. Like, they walk by me like either I don't know, I'm too dumb to know, or I'm just too weak to say anything to their face. And I don't want a confrontation. I don't want a confrontation all the time, man. I'm sitting there trying to take photographs of shelter dogs and try to save these dogs. But it's hard to be on site with these people, knowing how they are, man. Knowing that Joyce, the head volunteer, runs Gil. Gil rolls over to her demands a lot of the time. Joyce is an authoritarian. Joyce, you're just a head volunteer, Joyce. They just gave you that position. That's a name tag, man. Do the work of a head volunteer. Earn that title. You're not a big bad wolf that gets to stomp around the shelter and dictate to everybody what they can and can't do, man. Your discrimination against pit bulls is disgusting. I would love to tell that to your face. At some point I probably will. Maybe you'll even see this video, but it's a given that at some point I'll tell you to your face too. I just don't want confrontation a lot of times. I don't want to get kicked out of the shelter. I want to be able to do what I do. I don't want to see them. You gotta pretend as if nothing's wrong. You gotta see these amazing dogs. Amazing. Dog after dog, amazing, you know? Not just pit bulls, every breed in the shelter. Dog after dog is amazing. And you gotta walk the same halls in the same spaces as people like Joyce and people like the head groomer, who's, I don't even know why, what makes you go and tell on somebody for taking out a dog to show it love? What makes you do that? Why would you do that? Like, why? I don't get it, man. So you just think about that kind of stuff. You think about the mentality there. You think about what makes people do that. We're there trying to help. What makes you do that to where you see us playing with a dog and you're going to run to the front and tell a sergeant so we can get kicked out? And now Diana's suspended because of this. Does that make you feel good? Do you feel good about that? Does that make you feel powerful? I feel like when you think about that, you feel so bad because these are the people running this shelter. And all these dogs are in there, and their fates are left up to these people. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of these people. You can't work with people like this. You can't reform people like this. And then I hear about Gil and Diana's meeting and how Gil's, worried about how I hate him and stuff. I don't hate you, Gil. I don't hate you, man. I don't know you. I just know that you're a bad manager. I know that you're not transparent. I know that you're vindictive. I know that you're desensitized. These are qualities you shouldn't have if you're running a shelter that intends to save lives. These are not qualities that a manager should have, and you got them in spades, man. So I don't hate you. I don't hate you, man. I just think you're bad at your job. I'm willing to talk to you. I tried to set up a meeting with you multiple weeks ago. You never responded to me. I sent you 4 emails. You didn't respond to any of them, man. And then you want to tell Diana that I didn't say hi to you today when I was in the shelter? Why would I say hi to you? You just suspended my girlfriend for being a volunteer because she's taking out dogs and trying to save them. You suspended her. You're the manager. And you want to say, oh, it's not me, it's admin, or my hands are tied. Well, you're the manager. Maybe it is admin. A lot of what you're doing, you're rolling over to people like Joyce. You're the manager. She's a volunteer. So you're paid to be there. If you don't agree, which is what you claim, with things that she's putting into place, like Joyce is the reason why none of the pit bulls can leave their cage until they've been temperament tested. That's a Joyce thing. And you can do something about that because you're the manager. And yet you don't. You know what's another Joyce thing? That volunteers are not allowed to do temperament tests. That's another Joyce influence decision. She mandates that on everyone. Why? Who gives her that power? She's a volunteer just like Diana's a volunteer. Just like I may be a volunteer in a year if you guys ever get back to me. How does one person who's not even a paid employee get a mandate discriminatorily on everybody else, including the shelter manager? How do you roll over to that? So this is why I have a problem with you, Gil. I don't dislike you as a person. I don't wish you ill will. I don't want to see you drive out of the shelter and get plowed over by a semi, man. I hope you live a long life, man. I hope you are able to feed your family. But at the end of the day, you're murdering dogs. And what's worse is after you kill them, you call them aggressive. You just shit on them after you've done away with them. And I can't tolerate that. So anybody that does that, I'm going to come after you. And that's just the way it's going to be, man. I'm willing to sit down and talk to you. I want to meet with you. If admin's tying your hands, I'll get in your corner. I don't necessarily think you're going to ever make the greatest manager, but I will have your back, man. If this goes higher than you, and I know it goes higher than you, but I also don't see a lot of character shining through from you either. And then, I'm coming off this meeting with PETA, coming off just approaching them on the pit bull issue and seeing how much just disingenuousness they have, just radiating from their eye sockets and their just beings. Having my little back and forth with Lisa Lange, knowing where PETA stands, knowing that a so-called animal welfare group, one of the biggest and most well-known, as policy, as real core policy, wants to eviscerate every dog that is even remotely a pit bull. That is insanity. Do you know how evil that is? And then they lie about it on top of it. I'm telling my friends who was talking about this issue, if you want to kill my dog, that's one thing. And you can come out and be a total asshole about it and say racist stuff and say, but if you're saying it to my face, at least I can have a shred of, acknowledgement that you're at least, maybe you believe what you're saying, or that you're just misguided, but you're still being upfront about it in a weird, twisted way. PETA is the exact opposite. PETA will rub your back and tell you everything that you want to hear while they plunge a knife into every single dog that you love. They want to exterminate pit bulls and every dog that looks like them. And that's essentially what it comes down to. It comes down to a subjective, visual determination. When you got people like dogsbite.org and their minion followers advocating your policy, you're doing something horrendous. And I gotta confront these people and call them out, because they're walking around just like I am and nobody's saying anything. They're able to give off the impression that they're loving and all this, they're doing all this good stuff, and they do good stuff with a lot of different things, laboratory monkeys and factory farming and the skinning of raccoon dogs and overseas to make clothes and stuff. The ways that these things are being done, the ways that these materials are being made, that's worthy to speak out of. I applaud you for doing that. But how do you just reject all shelter reform? How do you reject the notion that pit bulls are simply dogs? How do you advocate for the across-the-board murder of millions of dogs? How do you perpetuate stereotypes that lead to the murder of millions of dogs? How do you go out there and promote your racism when it comes to dogs and dog breeds and dog types, and then stand in front of my face and lie to me about it. You are scum. You're scum. Do you know what it's like to be in front of a person like this and have a dialogue with them and feel the energy coming from this person? It's powerful, but it's not a good powerful. The only good I can take out of it is it makes me know that what I'm doing is right, and it makes me go that much harder. So I'll continue to talk about these types of people that want to kill my dog, your dog, everybody's dog, essentially. Even it goes way farther than pit bulls. At the end of the day, they just want to get rid of domesticated animals. They're authoritarians, pretty much. But so it's been a crazy week. And with the PETA stuff, got a surprise while I was there. Marcia Mayeda was sitting right behind me. Didn't even know it till Erica called her out to answer a question. Turn around, and there she is, right there, right behind me. Marcia Mayeda. I wanted so bad when she was speaking to say, dog killer, you're a dog killer. Get it on camera, get it on the live feed, get the audio out there, make a scene. But then I was like, you know what? I also want to ask PETA a question, and gotta hold off on that so I can get my question to PETA in before I get kicked out of here. So it's like you gotta juggle all these tyrants and decide which thing is the best thing to do. You have these opportunities. Maeda's sitting right behind me. So then the panel ends, and I go up to her and say, hey, Marcia, can I ask you a few questions? And she's like, okay, I guess I'm leaving, but what's your name? And I was like, Josh. And she's like, hi, Josh. And then, you could see the wheel in her mind, like, acknowledge Josh. Oh, Josh who? And she asked me, Josh who? Josh Liddy? And I was like, yeah, Josh Liddy. And then she was like, oh. You could see, she was like, oh, no, he's got his video camera on me and is about to ask me a question. And what pissed me off is that as soon as we got out in the open that, hey, I am Josh Liddy here, that's me. I said, how do you know who I am? And she's like, oh, you're the guy that tries to help us with all the pit bulls. And as nice as that statement sounds, you have to know who Marcia Mayeda is and her track record. So she's going to claim that I'm the guy that wants to help. Well, I do want to help them with pit bulls. But she said, you're the guy that helps us with all the... Basically, she presented it in a way as if I was an asset to them. And that's how they viewed me. And they appreciated me. Which is completely erroneous. And the fact that she could be that disingenuous with me to my face and act like, oh, yeah, you're that nice guy that does all that great pit bull work. And Marcia Mayeda hates me. She hates me. Everything that I have negative to say about Gil, I could say about Marcia times 10. So when I'm in front of her, and she's going to be fake like that to me and act like, oh, yeah, you're that great guy. And again, standing feet away from the butcher of LA County. And I say, how does it feel to be responsible for the murder of thousands of dogs every year? Or the killing. I don't know if I said killing or murder, but essentially it's the same thing. How does it feel to be responsible for that. She looked at me and said, I'm not going to play this game with you, Josh. See, this is where we differ. Because this ain't a game. This is not a game to me. You know, these dogs' lives are not a game to me. It's not a game when I go in, spend time and interact, get to know, and see what each of these dogs has to offer and know that they're not going to be able to offer it. It's not a game. It's not a game. So just know that I'm not going nowhere. And people that don't like my style, people that say, oh, you're too negative, or you focus on bad, just be more positive. Basically, pretending as if none of this stuff is happening. It's a way to just go, and then they demonize me for it because I'm doing something different than everyone else is doing, which is going along to get along, or going along to maintain a position in a broken system. We can acknowledge the system's broken, but yeah, they're so defeatist that they just think, well, got to go along with it because this is what we have. This is the best we're going to do, and I got to kiss ass, and I got to turn a blind eye to blatant discrimination, negativity, vindictiveness, control freaking, tyrannical type people, just so I can maintain my poll rights, just so I can maintain my position as a volunteer, just so I can maintain my ability to be in the good graces of a fucking tyrant. This is why nothing changes. And I get it, man. I understand that this system is fucked and that you're living a day-to-day existence, just as I am. You get to know one dog. You want to do anything possible to get that one dog out. And if that means rolling over and getting bent over and having to turn a blind eye to all these crazy things, to be able to do that, you'll do it. And I understand that. I get that, you know, and everybody has a role to play. So I respect you. I respect people that do that, because everybody has their role. But don't villainize me because I'm not that. I'm fighting for you. I'm fighting for that dog too, man. I'm a good person. I'm fighting for you. I'm trying to better the system. So don't attack me. Don't attack me because I'm pointing out flaws, blatant, ridiculous flaws, asinine flaws in the system. Don't attack me because I'm calling a racist. Don't attack me because I acknowledge discrimination when I see it, and when 95% of the pit bulls never get a temperament test, which means they never get to walk out the cage until they're walked out to be murdered. Don't get mad at me. For what? And I don't even know if I'm going to post this. I'll get criticized for this. People will criticize me for this video. People will laugh at me for this video. They'll be like, "Oh, look at this guy. He's crying. He's a guy that's crying. Look at the baby crying." That's fine, and I'll probably post it just because I cried. Just because, like, I'm proud of the fact that I'm passionate about this. So I have no problem crying on a video camera. And if you wanna be that guy that says, look at him, he's crying, what a bitch. Be that guy, man. Be that guy. So I'm gonna post it just because of that. But today's been rough, man, and this week has been rough. And I'm sick, and I'm just exhausted by all the hurdles, the red tape. And then the lack of understanding the issues by so many people. Apologists of it all, which only allows it to maintain, which only allows it to maintain its entrenchedness, if that's a word. The system is so deeply entrenched in negativity and backwardsness because good people continue to go along with it. And I don't know why. I mean, I know why to some extent. I just explained why in a certain example, but need people's help. Dogs need people out there to speak on their behalf and hold shelters accountable. I guess the overarching black cloud that's flying over my head right now is just the realization that how much hate is out there in regards to pit bulls. It's really, really disgusting and vicious. The funny part about the whole argument is the vicious ones. The whole argument that pit bulls are all vicious. The vicious ones are the anti-pit bull people that pretty much just shank you at any opportunity. They will say anything. Yeah, that doesn't get categorized as vicious. I guess that gets what? You gotta stand on the grave of a dead child. Like, I had somebody today criticize me about my PETA video, and then tell me that a couple comments down, I come to find out that their actual line of thought is that, well, their problem with me is that they don't like me advocating on the behalf of dangerous dogs. She says that to me. which surprised me because, you know, as soon as she sent her initial comment to me, I went to her profile to see who she was because I didn't know who she was. And my assumption based off her profile, based off the way that it looked, is that she had her own pit bull, one, because she had pictures of a dog that was a pit bull with detailed descriptions, you know, they were all positive. And then she was part of some groups that I was a part of. We had mutual groups and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So when I initially responded back to her, she responds back to me and then goes off on this rant about pit bulls all being dangerous. And I was like taken aback by it. I was like, whoa, okay, I didn't expect that from you. And then I come to find out that you know, she's like the anti-pit bull, anti-shelter reform, pro-blanketly discriminating against the totality of a group, of anything, type of person. And why I mentioned that you stand on the grave of a dead child earlier is because that's exactly what she did. I pointed out that, oh, you're one of those people. Well, that sucks, but you don't have the corner on, because she said something about, I know facts. I know how to look at data. You don't. I know all about data. And I was like, well, you don't have the corner on looking at data, because the true data is that 99.9% more than that of all pit bulls have never killed a child, never mauled a person. And yet you want to call them all that. So if you're claiming that you're a data hawk and that you know, are all about data, then I'm happy to be the opposite of that, because you're a fool. I didn't say that, but, you know, that's my line of thinking. But that's the reality. 99.9% of these dogs have never done anything to anybody, and yet they're villainized as a group, as a whole. And her response back to me was, how can you justify what you're saying? Do you not care about dead kids? So she's going to cite an attack, an individual dog that killed an individual person at any given time. And somehow, I've signed off on that. I've signed off on, yeah, I love dead kids, apparently. Really? Like, what? I don't want to see any kid hurt. Are you serious? I love kids just like I love dogs. I have 2 nieces and a nephew. I would never want to see anything happen to those guys. Yeah, because I'm calling out the fact that, again, 99 point whatever percent of 4 to 6 million dogs called pit bull type dogs. These dogs never have done anything to anybody, just because I'm stating that, which is a fact. And you have, you know, a pool of 5 or 6 dogs that you can pull from that have killed a kid. And all 6 million of these dogs are to take the blame for that, to take the blame for those 5 or 6 or 8 or whatever the number is. And then she blamed me. And then she said that I have a history of attacking victims' families, which I don't. Never has that happened. I'd be interested to see the proof of that. Please show me. I mean, you can Google my name and, you know, I have multiple websites, and I don't use an alias like some people do. So if I said something, you can see it. Please show me where I've attacked any victim. I mean, come on. It's so mindless. It's the same stuff. It's so mindless. It's so mindless. It's so based in irrationality, fear, hate, dishonesty, ignorance. And these people want to stand on the graves of dead kids and just so they can murder 5 to 6 million dogs. And I'm the bad person for pointing that out. And plus, she's using a fake profile that gives off the impression that she actually has a pit bull and loves them. She's part of pro pit bull groups and everything. I mean, she's, you know, apparently undercover and blew her cover because she just couldn't stand my video enough to. So she commented, and then I don't know if that. I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't explain why she commented. It was. So, there you have it. Infiltrate these people who may not even be real people. They just may be aliases of other people. Infiltrating, acting as if they're pit bull lovers only to viciously attack them online and stuff. It's just, man, this is rough to think everything these dogs are up against, and I just know I'm on the right side of history. So I'm just glad that talking through this with myself on video, you know, it's tough, man. People ask me, how do you do what you do? How do you go to the shelter? I could never be at the shelter and be on site like that and see what you see and form emotional connections with dogs and be okay and, you know that the majority of them are going to be killed and stuff. So you got to do it. You have to. They need more people like that. I'm not saying that I'm great. I'm just one person, man. I'm nobody. I'm just one person. But we all add up to something. We all can help in our own way. So, consider doing what you can. I guess I know I'm rambling, but my point was that just talking through with myself about just all these issues in my head, at the end of this video, which I'm going to close this camera in about a minute, I just know that I feel stronger now, Nothing that they can do is going to make me back off and be like, oh, this is too much. I can't do this anymore. I give up. Never. Hate is evil. Making all-encompassing statements, blanket statements about groups of anything is evil and wrong and inherently just ridiculous, preposterous. It's the worst of humanity. I will oppose this at all costs, all the time. I'm happy to do it.